Hello all, this is the video for finding area of a polygon. Today we're going to be looking at irregular polygons or composite shapes. We have a guided notes paper that we're going over these problems with, so we'll be working together on these. Here, when we look at this one, we see that we have 20 feet, 6 feet, 7 feet, and 10 feet. And I have this weird looking shape. And when I think about it, I know that I have two shapes combined. So there are two ways we can do it. Either one will result in the same answer, but we can kind of decompose it that way, or we can do it that way. This is the way that I'm going to show you how to solve it. So I'm going to use two different colors here to show you what I'm doing. So this little red one, I'm actually going to draw off to the side. Okay, and what we know so far is that its base is 6 feet, because this is the same measurement as the one that's down here on the bottom. But what we need to find out is, what is its height? How tall is it? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to look over here. I know that this big whole piece is 10 feet, but then this one up to right here is 7. So what I need to do is find the difference between 10 and 7. So 10 minus 7 is 3, which means this guy right here is also 3. Okay. So this is a parallelogram, so we're going to use area equals base times height. So we have 6 times 3, and this one has an area of 18. So I'm just going to write 18 in there and circle it just so I have it off to the side. Now I'm going to solve this one. So I know its height is 10. Oh, I just dropped my Apple pencil, so we can't get much done. I'm always dropping stuff. Sorry about that. Okay, so this one is also a parallelogram. So we know that its base, we don't know yet. We do know its height. Its height is 10. Okay, and then we're going to see, well, what's its base? What's this part right here? Well, I know from here all the way over is 26. I'm sorry, 20. This is 20, and then we lopped off 6 feet. So we're going to do 20 minus 16, which is 14. Okay. Then we're going to go ahead and just multiply. So we have 140 here. And we're not done yet, because what we need to do is we need to add both of these areas together. Okay. 0 and 8 is 8. 4 and 1 is 5. And then 1 and 0 is 1. 158. And we're going to put feet squared. Make sure we keep our units with it. Okay. Let's work on this next one here. We can see, and I'm going to kind of try and turn it here like this. You can see that this is two trapezoids. So they're kind of just on top of each other there. But the trapezoids are split in the middle right here. So we have what we'd call a line of symmetry. So if I were to fold the shape in half right there, they would be identical, and they would not overlap or anything. They would just completely fold. So that tells me that this one is equivalent to this one. So all I need to do is solve for one trapezoid. So the first thing I'm going to do is draw myself a trapezoid that is oriented upright so that I can kind of get a better picture of what it is. Okay, so that's just this one turned around. So I know that its bottom base right here, the long base, is 15. And then I know right here on the top, where we fold it in half, or where we would decompose it, cut it into two pieces, is 8. But then right here, its height, we know that the full thing is 15, but if I cut it in half, that means I would have to put this number in half, which is 7.5. Okay, now we have everything we need to solve for a trapezoid. Oops, sorry, wrong formula. Height times the quantity of a short base plus a long base divided by 2. And we have all these values, so we're just going to go ahead and plug them in. We have the height, which is 7.5, times the quantity of the little base, 8, plus the long base, 15, all divided by 2. Then we're just going to go ahead and simplify using the order of operations. We'll do what's inside the parentheses first. So we'll have 7.5. Add those together to get 23 divided by 2. Then we'll follow again. Next step is multiplication. So we'll do 7.5 times 23. So I'm going to do 7.5 times 23. And I'm going to move this up a little bit here. Okay, so we have 5 and 3 is 15. 23, sorry, 7. 3 and 7 is 21 plus 1 is 22. Move to the next place value. 2 times 5 is 10. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 1 is 15. And then we'll add those together. Sorry, I'm trying to do this in this tiniest little spot ever. And we'll get 172.5 and then divided by 2. However, on this one, do I really need to divide by 2? Because if I divided by 2, it would only give me one trapezoid. But if I did not divide by 2, it would give me the total for 2 trapezoids. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to ignore that divide by 2. And then I'm just going to say that my answer is 172.5 meters squared. Now, if you're like, I do not like that, that is a shortcut, I don't want to do that, I can show you how to do it. So we are going to do a long division problem. I'm going to give myself like a little whiteboard right here so I have a little bit more room to do the long division. So I have 172.5 divided by 2. I'll put my decimal up there in the quotient. So then we'll do 2 into 17. That's 8. 16 with 1 remaining. 2 goes into 12 6 times. And then we'll bring down our 5. That goes in twice with 1 remaining. Annex is 0. And it'll go in and make 86 and 25 hundredths. Okay, so that's what one trapezoid would be. So if I were to write that, that'd be 86 and 25 hundredths, and then this one would be 86 and 25 hundredths. We add those together, we would still end up with 172.5 meters squared. Okay, I'm actually going to skip us up to this one. So let me zoom in a little bit. So we have this funky looking triangle where some of it's kind of chopped out. So what I'm going to do here, my approach is to solve for this big ginormo triangle and then subtract out, because we can see that something's cut out. We're going to subtract out that rectangle. But first, let's do the triangle. So I know a triangle is area equals half base times height. I just need to find the base first. So I have half. The base here is 2, 7, and 4. So 2 plus 7 is 9, and then 4 more is 13. So this whole area down here is 13. And then we know the height over here is 10. Okay, so I'm going to take half of 10 first. So we'll do 13 times 5. And the reason why I take half early is because a lot of people forget to take it after, and then they have the wrong measurement. This is 6. So this whole thing is worth 65 with the rectangle included. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do the rectangle. So the rectangle is a parallelogram, so it's base times height, and our height is 6, and our base is 7. So that together is 42. Now I need to subtract this portion out because that doesn't belong in the triangle. So we'll do 65 minus 42 to get an area of 23 centimeters squared. And that's all there is to it, guys. So what we're doing is we're using all of those areas of the shapes that we know how to solve: a parallelogram, a triangle, a trapezoid, and we're either adding them together or we're subtracting some out depending on if it's cut out of the shape or not. So there's some example problems for you. Any ones that you were not here for in class, I'd like you to do on your own. If you have any questions, please send me an email or see me in class. And I hope you guys have fun doing math.